Thank you so much, Rajesh, and congratulations, Naveen. This is a big moment. Uh, and why I think this is a significant moment as well. I think we are witnessing a silent revolution that is taking place. Entrepreneurship, which used to be restricted to a few narrow sets of people, is really becoming much more broad-based. In some sense, this is like what happened to cricket. Cricket was a game, played by the elites, but today that is not the case at all. In fact, our best cricketers are coming from smaller towns and are coming from modest backgrounds. And that's the revolution that I see that is taking place in India with respect to entrepreneurship. And this is an important revolution because if India has to ever rise out of poverty, I think it will be on the back of this revolution that is taking place. Now, entrepreneurship is all about mindsets. You need the right mindset to become an entrepreneur. And therefore, you need a folklore to sustain you. And it has to be accessible and deep. And what's remarkable about this book here is that it's an important contribution to building that Indian folklore of entrepreneurship as to the set of beliefs, the set of concepts and knowledge that would drive the future entrepreneurs of India. I see some young children here, and I often think of my own daughter. And I remember, when she was young, she, for a time, believed that her mother indeed had eyes at the back of her head. Or, at a traffic light, we used to live in the US at that time, and we had this elaborate ritual that when we were waiting for the lights to turn green, if he said whoosh and did the right hand movements, it would turn green. And her mind, that was what was causing it to turn green. But despite my best efforts, she retired those beliefs over time. And I think this is the remarkable thing about children. They are able to retire their older beliefs and replace them with new ones. But as we grow older, that process stops happening. And we get stuck with a set of beliefs, sometimes unexamined, and sometimes inappropriate for the role that we need to play in life. And then it takes a jolt. Sometimes a life-altering kind of a accident happens or life-threatening event happens, and that shakes us up. And that plays this role of a catharsis. A new awakening happens, and you start examining life afresh and build a new set of beliefs. When I was in my 7th semester doing my engineering, I went through a life-changing accident at that time, and I therefore can completely relate to where Naveen is coming from. And I think, in some sense, his strength, his foundation, his new perspective is really shaped by his own life-altering experience that he went through, with retina detachment and blindness. And that forced him to re-examine his own beliefs. And in that process, I think what is remarkable is very carefully, very selectively, with the help of his friends and gurus and the rest of the support system, pick a new set of beliefs and concepts that have shaped his life, his successful life thereafter. And you see those translating in the book. The book is in some sense an expression of that. And as I read through the book over the last few days, I was really touched by it. But what struck me the most, frankly, was the way this has been put together. I love the narrative that has been, the technique that has been used here between Lucky and Appy and Proggy. Because I think what is happening today, increasingly, at least in the entrepreneurship world, you have a bunch of books, and I don't mean to be critical of any one book, but if you even take successful books, targeted at entrepreneurs that are out there, they are very evidence-based. A very popular book today is Lean Startups, or before that, Getting to Plan B by Randy Commissar. They're really focused on getting you to embrace a new belief on the back of evidence. And I think that's necessary, and it works for a set of people. But what I think Naveen has done here has taken a much more holistic approach. And he's taken, he said, look, if belief was a balloon, it is anchored by evidence, of course, but logic, but emotion as well. And and some kind of a social consensus. And through this whole narrative process, he has given us these 12 pairs of concepts, or 12 pairs of beliefs, and woven around them all these anchors that are necessary for them to actually get assimilated and stick with that reader so that they can actually apply these principles in their life as they go forward. So I find that process very, very appropriate, for, of course, a global audience, but particularly so an Indian audience, where there is this search, there is this desire to find the foundational principles that will underpin this silent revolution that is taking place. The other thing at a slightly tangential kind of a level, but still relevant, which actually struck me in a conversation with William over coffee a few moments back, and this was kind of probably in the system, but it just came together a few moments back. And I think if I look back at the entrepreneur ecosystem, particularly even here in Bangalore, over the last 1 year, there are lots of new activity. New activity in the form of incubators, accelerators, people who are out to help the entrepreneurs, become more successful. But much of that work is anchored on a paradigm of a therapist. And that paradigm is, there is something wrong with you, Mr. Entrepreneur or Miss Entrepreneur. And let me identify what's wrong with you, and I will help fix that for you. So it's a therapist paradigm. You're maladjusted, and therefore I must do something to correct that problem. And I feel uncomfortable with that approach, frankly, honestly. And what I find refreshing is that there is another movement, there's another paradigm that is alive and well here in Bangalore, and I'm so happy to see so many of you here. And this book kind of articulates that paradigm, and that is this paradigm of coaching. And coaching is fundamentally different from therapy, because it is anchored in this whole notion that each one of us, has tremendous amount of potential. And the role of a coach is not to fix problems, but to help you realize your potential. And as William reminded me, in that conversation a few moments back, it is therefore not focused on weaknesses and therefore focused on strengths. And I think this is the paradigm that will take us forward. And I'm really feel privileged and honored to be here, and therefore to share with you this wonderful book that is going to be part of the community. I think it's been written in a fashion that is extremely durable. It'll have long shelf life. And even when we return many, many years from now, we will find that the people will be referring to this book and changing their lives as a result. So with very warm congratulations to you, Naveen. I hope this is one of many, and thank you for the contribution that you've made.